And we're live on WJLX 101.5 FM, live at 9. James Phillips here, Friday afternoon, and I've got some guests with me. Jared Aaron, he's a teacher at Cordova High School, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, and then we got Jake, and Jack. Remind me your last names.
Cain.
Kilgore.
J.K., Jack Kilgore, and y'all are students at Cordova High School.
Yes, sir.
And we've got a podcast, right?
Uh-huh.
Yes, sir.
Okay, next
Next up, Leaders.
Up Leaders Incorporated, right?
Inc.
Trademark.
Trademark.
Okay.
TM.
All right.
TM.
Well, patent pending. All right. I just wanted to have you guys come on. I've heard about the podcast. I know your teacher here a little bit. It seems like a really cool thing, and I want to know where it came from. So, one of you guys tell me.
It was. We were talking about it in class, and
Can I break in for a
yeah,
second?
you can break in.
So, last year, I got, people that know me know I'm kind of a nerd anyway, but last year I was asked to help judge FFA proficiency awards at the state level. I'm the ag teacher, and FFA is our student organization.
Pull that mic a little closer to me.
Am I too quiet? Okay, here we go.
There you go.
So I went, I judged these proficiencies, and what they put me on was ag communications. And I thought, this is cool. I'm going to see if some students want to try to do this year. Well, these guys stepped up and said, yeah, we'll do it. That sounds like fun to us. And I was like, hey, do y'all want to halfway do this, or y'all want to all the way do this? So we ordered a little, podcast kit off Amazon, and it's just kind of taken off from there. They had the idea to have, local leaders on in agriculture and in business and in the schools. And it's been a lot of fun, good learning experience too. Y'all want to tell your side of it now?
Yeah.
There's two sides to every story.
Yeah,
three.
there is.
Yeah.
Well, I heard him talk about it, and I was like, that would be a cool idea to do. And then I was watching, so it's our SAE, and you don't have to remind me what that stands for.
Supervised agricultural experience.
Supervised agricultural experience. And so I was watching a video. I just looked up what would be fun to do for SAE, and a podcast popped up, and I heard him talk about it, so I was like, that would be a really fun idea. So I brought it up to him, and he's like, yeah, that would be really cool. And Jack happened to be sitting right there. And so it was just kind of, I brought up the idea, and it just kind of went. And before I knew it, we had 4 mics, headphones, and it just got real. I never expected to actually have a podcast.
Right. What about you?
Well, I heard Jay talk going about it. I just wanted to be like Joe Rogan, so I decided to.
Way to really shoot for the stars.
Yeah.
You just want to be like Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
That's all right.
What's the saying? Shoot for the moon, you'll land amongst the stars.
Exactly. Yeah.
Even if you miss.
Well, what about doing the podcast? Tie that into agriculture a little bit. So I would think most people hear podcast, agriculture doesn't really go together. How do you tie that together? And tell us a little bit more about the podcast. Who have you talked to? Why those people? That kind of thing.
Well, so the way it ties into agriculture, we interview leaders in our community, but most of them are agricultural related. They do agricultural stuff. And our first guest was Mr. Grant Nichols, and he was an ag teacher at Oakman for
several years.
several.
He's also a farmer.
And who was our second guest? I
Second
forget the
guest.
order.
Wasn't it No Billy? Or
Our second guest was the mayor of Cordova, Jeremy Pate.
And I mean, there's some agricultural, but I like to think it's more based on like leadership, people that are leaders. So we interviewed our principal, our football coach, We interviewed. Who did we interview?
We interviewed Dr. Willingham.
Dr. Willingham, superintendent of
That was a good
County School.
interview.
That was.
Miss Nevada Fry.
Last one was Nevada Fry from the Plantique and Professional Landscape.
Okay.
She was a really good interview and had a lot of insight in the business. And, you know, when I was talking to her about coming on, I was like, you know, you're probably the only person I know that owns 2 agricultural businesses in Walker County. And I said, I think you'd be a really good guest for the guys. And she was. And she showed up with a big armful of goodie bags for all the kids.
Yeah.
They've got like a support crew too that, you
That's
know,
my favorite part.
runs cameras.
we got. She did bring us some gifts.
We got a camera guy / director. We've got what else? We got Jaden the note taker.
Yeah, he tells us what we can do better.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's what you need, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah,
That's-
definitely.
Terrell Manasco is that for me. He's a note taker. He tells me what I can do better. Well, and Jonathan Timmons too.
Mainly what you did wrong.
Mostly what I did wrong, yes. And Woody just gets on to me all the time, you know.
Well,
But he's the professor, so I have to learn from him.
yeah.
Who's been your favorite guest so far? And I know that's putting you on the spot because you don't want people to get upset. But who's the favorite?
You want to take this one, Jack?
I would have to say Mayor Pate or Coach Maynard.
Dang.
I was shocked you didn't go with Coach Maynard first. He plays football, so.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you
Coach
should have said Coach Maynard.
Coach Maynard, he's gonna make you run.
Coach Maynard gets me chocolate milk.
What were your favorite things about those 2 guys?
I like talking to Coach Maynard because it was like I never really heard him talk about stuff other than football. And, like I found out like a lot of stuff about him, like how he enjoys kayaking.
He likes to kayak.
Yeah.
That was a shocker for me.
And he's got a little dog that rides in his kayak with him.
Hey, now that's
Which
pretty
is
cool.
not-
I didn't know that.
Not something we would have saw with Coach Maynard, you know, because I don't know if you've been around Coach Maynard,
He's
but
intense.
he's a man's man.
He
And you
definitely
would think
is.
he's got a little dog that rides in his kayak with
Because
him.
I was going to joke around and be like, I don't know how much personality you're going to get out of the football coach at Cordova, you know, but it sounds like it was a really good interview. I need to go back and listen.
He's very motivational too. I mean, I was watching the video after the fact, and I was like, man, I want to put on some shoulder pads.
Were you ready to go hit somebody?
Oh yeah, I was ready. I was ready.
Yeah, I feel like I've definitely learned a lot from that interview. Like, I feel like I learned a lot from every interview. It's a big learning experience, for sure.
Now, what did you like about Mayor Pate coming on?
Which he's also my boss during the summer, so I had to say him. But like also he's very interesting to talk to.
I like that you have to say these things about him.
It's not.
And
I
you
like
just come out and say that you have to say it.
He's
Yeah.
contractually
You
obligated.
just said that.
Coach Maynard, don't make me run.
We are live. Just to remind you, we are live. And he said a minute ago, it's all about agriculture. But then after that, he said, well, okay,
Well,
more about leaders.
See, I had to think about it.
Yeah, I understand.
I mean,
I should have asked the ag teacher, how do you make this about agriculture?
Well, FFA is a student organization. It's a leadership organization,
Right.
and you talk to a lot of people who are in leadership positions around the state as an ag teacher. One of the first things that they're going to tell you was, I was an FFA member. I had a blue jacket. I've still got my blue jacket. You know, so this organization has helped to mold a lot of people. You know, over since 1928, and not at Cordova, of course. Since 2012 at Cordova, but our organization is not just about ag. It's a leadership group, and I think there's a lot to be. I think there's a lot more. They kind of made a shift back in the 80s toward, you know, being more inclusive and not just farm kids, ag kids, and they try to have something for everybody in it now. And I do think we need to stick with our agricultural roots a lot, but I think there's so much that young people can learn from somebody like Mayor Pate or the superintendent or Coach Nichols, or, you know, to me that's what this podcast is about. I don't know if they feel the same way, but when you get students who are their age watching this on YouTube or listening to it on Apple or Spotify, to me it's they can listen to me talk all day long. They've heard that. They almost all probably know exactly what I'm going to say. But when you hear them talk and they ask the questions that they want to ask, that's a different way of reaching kids that age, in my opinion. So I think it ties to agriculture, but I also think it doesn't, and I don't think it has to.
Right. Well, just a reminder, we got Jared Aaron, ag teacher from Cordova, and a couple of his students with us, podcasters we call them, right? Jake and Jack.
Jake and Jack.
Jake and Jack, the podcasters. Mr. Aaron, what makes these two guys good to be the hosts of the podcast? Because it could have been any students, right?
It could have been their willingness to step up and get out of their comfort zone set them apart from most. I think we have other students, and it's really since they got started, it's kind of like contagious. And there's a few other groups that are wanting to use our equipment to do a podcast, and we're happy to let them do it. I mean, we want them to. So another group recorded one the other day, our first priority group at school. So they're kind of getting their feet wet and learning. So what these guys were willing to step out and do something that most people would be scared to death to do, which is have a hot mic, which I have now.
Exactly.
And I'm nervous. and you may be able to hear that in my voice, but I'm proud of what these guys are doing, and I think what they're doing definitely has value, and for not just for them, but for others in the future. So.
Now, were you two guys nervous when you first started, or have you gotten a little more comfortable? What's your thoughts on it?
Oh,
I was very
I felt
nervous.
like I said like every 5 seconds of the first episode.
I said the word like before every sentence, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, you still do that.
What's been the response from other students?
They like it.
Yeah.
They
They made a plaque the other day for their 100th subscriber. We just happened to know who it was because we had 99 and he clicked subscribe in class and it went to 100. So
Well, congratulations on 100. Good job. Maybe after today you'll get about 102 or so.
let's try.
All right, hey, let's listen to a little bit more music for a second, and then we'll be back to talk to you guys with another segment. How about that?
All right.
sounds good.
All right, music coming up here on WJLX 101.5 FM. James Phillips live at 9. And we're back on WJLX. James Phillips, joined again by my friends from Cordova High School, Jared Aaron, Jake, Cain, and Jack Kilgore.
Sorry.
Oh, hang on. Now we're live. Can you hear me? I knew I'd mess up something. James Phillips on WJLX. We're back. Jared Aaron, teacher at Cordova High School. Jake Cain and Jack Kilgore,
Yes, sir.
Cordova students. Wow. I'm honored to have you guys here.
We're honored to be here.
I've heard you are the most popular podcast in Walker County right now.
We try.
I don't think
You
we
know,
will.
Well, who's the most popular?
well, I mean, there's that hooting and hollering.
Yeah.
bunch.
Yeah,
Those
they
guys,
definitely
those guys.
I don't like any of those guys. One of them cut my hair before. Look at it.
Yeah, scout you. Eric, I don't know.
I mean, what can you say?
I can't say anything about Eric.
And then that Matt
Him be
Mitchell
nice.
guy, everybody says he's funny.
Yeah, that
Come
guy.
on.
I mean,
Well,
how many Dollar General jokes can you?
that's true. He is pretty funny.
He's hilarious.
And my buddy Drake Pittman.
Oh, yep, yeah,
He's
Drake.
an Empire guy.
Yep,
And
Shane.
Shane Murray.
Yep.
So, they're a good bunch.
You were
They
on-
are very good guys.
He was on their whose podcast, Drake and Shane?
Oh, yeah, you were on
Yeah, I was on Drake and Shane's.
Pass the Jar.
Yes,
I was
Yes.
too. I was a 3-time guest.
Really?
I was one time. I didn't get the gold jacket. Did you get your gold jacket for three?
Not yet. They
Oh,
shut the thing down.
and they done with it.
Hey, I do want to let everybody know in the comments section on our feed on Facebook, they've put the link to you guys so people can go and subscribe. Where's the
Thank you.
best place to listen to? Like, is it Spotify or?
We're on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. I
I like YouTube, so
I
you
like
can actually see
YouTube.
us.
Wait, do we have video on Spotify and Apple?
You have video on Spotify.
We have video on Spotify, but
Oh, cool.
Like Joe Rogan.
Yeah, like Joe Rogan. But I would prefer watching on YouTube.
Yeah.
Just I mean, there's not really. It's just personal preference, really.
But if you can't watch, and you don't pay for the YouTube subscription where you can listen, with the screen off, Spotify, Apple, they're there too. I don't think we're on any other.
Or just turn your phone over. That works too.
You can do
if you
that.
If you don't want
And just to remind everybody, it is the Next Up Leaders podcast, right?
Yes.
So-
Next up, all one word.
And go check that out because, I mean, it really is cool. I've listened to the first 3 episodes, and I thought they were all really good. So I got to catch up with a couple though. Where are you at number 6?
Yeah, we just posted our 6th one.
Okay. That's really cool though, to be able to pull this off as high schoolers and a high school teacher. I think it's a really neat thing. What's made it successful, Jerry?
The 2 guys to my left, 100%. And also, their teachers and our principal and assistant principal for willing to let this thing happen. They accommodate us. I mean, if we've got a guest that can't come, these guys have my class together, and if we've got a guest that can't make it during that time, their other teachers have been very, very good to let us, borrow these dudes to get that done. And I think a huge part of the success is definitely not me, because I have a tendency to be pretty lazy, but these guys push me, and I help them line up guests. But it's always, hey, when we got another episode, when you gonna have this done? When are we gonna do this? And I appreciate y'all doing that, guys. I really do. It keeps me on my toes. And but they're definitely 100%. Them and the other students who are helping them, they're the reason it goes well.
That was a good segue because I was going to the other students next. I wanted to ask you guys, that's one thing, don't ever forget, like you guys are the ones on the microphone. And you're the ones that everybody sees and they say, oh, it's Jake and Jack and blah, blah, blah. But the important ones are usually the ones behind the scenes who are doing all the other stuff that has to get done just so people can see and listen to you. So who are some of the students and what do they do that are behind the scenes?
Well, they were all on our last episode because Miss Nevada Fry, she brought us goodie bags. And we just did a segment at the beginning where we were all there. So there's Logan Williams. He's behind the camera. He works the camera. There's Jaden Simon. He tells us tells us when we mess up, tells us what to do better.
That's his favorite part.
So he's super important then.
Yeah, and then Mr. Aaron, obviously. He, our job, I like to think, our job is really easy. We don't do a lot, really. We sit there and talk to somebody, really.
Right.
And, I mean, he edits all the videos, and I'm thankful for that, because I would not do good at that.
Y'all gotta learn.
Yeah, I tried to edit the other day. It was not good.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
But the good thing is that you can learn this.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool thing that you guys are learning skills that necessarily you may not do with what you're doing in the future, but you can use it in so many different ways. Even if you want to make your wife a gift one day that's a video, you'll be able to do that. Or you do something special for your kids when they're graduating high school or something. I'm speaking from experience. So,
I think just the confidence that they're building, as far as talking to some of these. I mean,
oh yeah,
they're like, hey, come sit down at the table with us, Mr. Superintendent. Come sit down at the table with us, Miss Business Owner. And they're not intimidated by that. And I think maybe in the beginning they might have been a little bit, but now it's like they don't mind talking with anybody. And
well, they were a little
I
scared
think
about
that's a great
10 minutes
skill.
ago, but I think they'll probably make fun of me before the show's over with.
Yeah.
if they haven't already.
Yeah, right. I'm sure they are up here.
Sometimes with Jack, it takes a minute to register that he has just made fun of him. Yeah.
Now, tell me a little bit about Mr. Aaron, because I could actually just have him on here and do a show probably a few times a week, and it'd never get old.
Yeah.
Because he's always dabbling in something.
It's always
So
something new. It's always something new.
what's the coolest thing about working with Mr. Aaron?
He's just a great guy. I enjoy working with him.
You don't know this guy very well, do
They're
you?
going to sit here and lie about me. I do appreciate the lies, though.
It's just it's fun to have somebody that can kind of mentor us, and like he helps a lot. He provides all our equipment. Like he provided the camera, big umbrella light, and I mean he helps us a lot, and a lot of it goes unknown.
What grade are y'all in?
We're in 10th grade.
Okay, so you got some more seasons left.
Yes, sir.
I was afraid this was like a one-season thing, and we're gonna have to find new hosts next year. So what's the next step, though, for next level? Next up.
We have got, really what they my idea, a local business, and look, y'all just going to have to subscribe to find out what's going to happen here, but there's a good possibility that they will be on camera running skid steers and various equipment on one of their interviews that's coming up. Wow. So it's going to be an on-location thing. I think that's one place they want to grow. It's like, and we're going to try to incorporate it as a field trip, and take other kids to these businesses and kind of, like I think Nevada would have been more comfortable if we would have loaded up and went to her business and her be able to show them around and say, this is what we do here, and teach them some more about what's going on. So, in my opinion, that's the next step, is kind of going to these places and being on their home turf, and I think they'll learn a lot more and be able to share a lot more information with other students and other people who are interested in listening.
If you're just tuning in, I've got Jared Aaron, teacher at Cordova, and Jake and Jack from Next Up, right? Next Up?
Next Up Leaders.
Next Up Leaders podcast. Check it out. One thing you were saying then, businesses who may be interested, this is a great place for them to hear about it, but how do they contact you?
The easy button is to find them. Y'all got a Facebook page, right?
You can find us on social media.
Next Up Leaders podcast on Facebook,
On TikTok,
YouTube, but probably message one of them on Facebook or me, Jared Aaron. That's I'm there too. That's probably the best way to get in touch with us.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great idea for businesses to get involved and get you guys to come out to their place. I think that's cool, for sure. Now, we talked a little bit when we were off the air about reactions from other students and things like that. How's it been around the school? What's been people's take on the show?
They seem to like it.
We have had a lot of support. Like other students, they tell us good job and how much they like watching it.
Yeah, and people ask to be on it a lot.
I was going to say, y'all have
Every day.
anybody asked to be on the show?
Every day.
John.
John, if you're listening.
See, John just got a shout out.
John is going to be on
You think so?
possibly the next one.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Now, how do I get on this show?
You should know you have an open invitation. You and Terrell
Oh wow!
and Woody. Maybe all three of y'all come one day.
Wow!
But then who's going to be running?
That's true. Who would be taking care of the radio
I
station?
don't know.
We only have 4 mics.
We'll make it happen.
Well, I mean, y'all are sharing a mic. We can share a mic at your place.
Yeah. But ours don't have the big arms like this. We don't have the fancy stuff. They just sit in front of us.
Timmons won't need a mic.
So what's been, we'll wrap this up pretty good. What's been your favorite thing about starting this podcast?
It's just, I love talking to the people and just learning. Like, you learn a lot talking to these, because these people are very wise. There hasn't, and all of them give really good advice. I mean, it's been a blast, really.
one of the questions that always gets asked by the guys is, if you could go back and give some advice to yourself when you were our age, what would you go back? Not lottery numbers or anything like that, but like real life. Here's some wisdom that you will need to take with you. And we have had some really incredible answers to that question, and things I've learned. Like, man, that's pretty profound there. And I can take it with me as a 40-something-year-old guy. So I don't think the podcast is interesting just for young people. I think it's there for anybody who wants to listen.
Mayor Pate told me, not Mayor Pate, his son told me that Mayor Pate watches it every morning while he's drinking his coffee.
We replaced, who did we replace for him? Was it Theo Vaughn or Joe Rogan?
What?
He told us we replaced somebody for him, but because he used to watch either Theo Vaughn or Joe Rogan.
Oh,
So
wow.
I guess we're going up.
So y'all are like moving up in the world of podcasts and
Yeah.
Mayor Pate's list.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were going to say you watch like Andy Griffith every morning or something. Now
Hey, you might.
going to you guys. What's your favorite podcast?
My favorite podcast?
Yeah.
Anyone that has you on.
No, that's a terrible podcast. What's y'all? I mean, you already said you wanted to be Joe Rogan, so is he your favorite podcast?
I would say.
Yeah, I think he would be on up there.
My favorites, I like Bad Friends with Bobby Lee and Theo Vaughn, obviously, and Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Just those top three guys.
I've listened to a few of Joe Rogan's. He's really long a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing that gets me. I can't sit there for that long.
I watch them when I'm going to bed.
Okay.
Yeah.
You fall asleep to Joe
I
Rogan's
do. Yelling.
smooth voice?
Yeah, I do. Theo,
I'll have nightmares.
Yeah.
I mean,
Have you ever listened to Smartless?
I'd not.
Oh, Smartless is my favorite podcast. It's got Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, and Sean Hayes. You know any of those guys?
Yeah.
I do.
Jason Bateman and Will Arnett, they started a show called Arrested Development.
No, I've heard of that show.
But it's...
I also like hooting and hollering.
Oh,
and I
Holland's
really-
good.
Drake and Shane, I think it's time for a reunion of Passage Hour. I think it's time.
They did a great job with Passage On.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
I did too.
What they did about Walker County and just showing the
Mm.
positive aspects of our community, great thing.
Mhm.
Well, guys, anything else you want to add before we go?
There's going to be a yard sale for the Cordova Quarterback Club tomorrow at 7 a.m.
That's what you do. You got to shameless plug.
Jump
right
in
from the
there.
City Hall, that little pavilion.
Also subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Well, and go to all your social medias. So what else are you on?
We have Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube right now. Apple and Spotify too.
Okay. And that's next up, leaders, right?
Thank y'all so much for having us on.
Thank you so much.
It really.
All right, coming up next, we'll have the Professor of Rock and Roll. After you listen to a few more songs, Woody Wilson will be here with the Woody Wilson Show. And then we've also got later today, Bevel State Community College softball. I'll be calling that game on the Bevel State Facebook page. So go to the softball team and listen to the Facebook page. And it'll be me and Zach McCullough on the call. Thanks for you guys for coming in. Live at 9, James Phillips today on WJLX. Terrell Manasco's been in the background helping us out. And let's get back to some music real quick here on WJLX.